We are live. Welcome. I'm very sorry that I missed the show last night. I missed the show. I missed myself. I stayed up late to watch the rugby on Saturday. I got up early on Sunday morning to coach rugby for my son's rugby team. And I don't know, it's just a busy day. I pretty much crashed at the same time as my kid. And I didn't wake up again until like 11:30, and I thought about getting up, and I just thought, no, I'll do it properly fresh tonight. It's probably not surprising I was so tired, given just what a kind of crappy couple of weeks it's been, I guess, just in the world. That said, it's all good. I am here. We're here to talk about all the stuff that's going on, to make some sense of it all, and to see how you guys are all doing. We got light. You're busy with your work up 11 p.m. push-ups and sit-ups. Well, good on you for that. We'll keep doing that. I mean, seriously, you don't need to be watching. And konbanwa, hello indeed. Hey Eddie and Darkmoon Horror, great to see you. Scottish. There was rugby the other night. There was Japan versus Wales, where Japan went down 33-30 due to a last-minute drop kick. They did pretty well with that. New Zealand beat Ireland, although I didn't get to watch that. I got up at 5 a.m. to try to watch that, but it wasn't on. Italy beat South Africa for the first time ever, so a big night for them. Hey Midori, it's good to see you. And first time in, oh, awesome, glad you can make it. Maybe weeknights are better for some people. Who else? So that we had Icarus 18, we had Mr. Cordy Chep, who is still the only person here actually, because I know that all of these other accounts, I believe, are sock puppet accounts of Mr. Cordy Chep, so thank you for the effort there, Mr. Cordy Chep. And yeah, Michael Gillen Peckett, always good to see you, sir. Afex, awesome. Miss Hanake, great to see you. And yes, everyone else, thank you for joining, even though it is not the regular night. Johnny Sexton was amazing. Yeah, I wish I'd seen the game, actually. We got Joseph Contreras. Good to see you, sir. And Yasa. Hey, we got a good crowd in here. That's right. Poor South Africa. Well, yeah, Italy, right? I mean, hell, everyone gets beat, although South Africa also got beat by Japan, I guess. But, you know, hey, I mean, Ireland beat New Zealand for the first time. Italy beat South Africa for the first time. It's good for the sport. Triple J, Jinx's journey to Japan. Good to see you. And I'm glad that you couldn't make it last night. You can make it tonight. My man, Bayer McNeil, he wrote an excellent piece in the Japan Times, showed up in the Japan Times. Not all of us are baka. I thought it was actually, maybe it's because I live here, but I felt more in tune probably with his perspective of the election than a lot of things I've been reading that have been coming out of America lately. So yes, indeed. Yes. Sorry about that, Light. We have a South African in the audience. My commiserations to you, but as a New Zealander, hell, we got beat by Ireland for the first time in 111 years. So you know what can you do? I love ZKB48. I like your shirt too, whatever it is. I'm sure it's a nice shirt. 6 a.m. in LA. Damn. Well, okay. I hope I don't put you back to sleep again. I will do my very, very best not to do that. Let's go through and see what's been tweeting. Other than the world steadily coming to an end. It is kind of funny. I mean, doesn't Japan? It's a bit like when I remember when Koizumi first went to Memphis and he was there with George W. Bush, doing his Elvis impression, you know, doing the big swinging arms. And I remember Jon Stewart saying, I never thought I'd say this, but doesn't President George W. Bush look dignified and restrained at the moment compared to the Japanese Prime Minister? I'm pretty certain that right now Japan looks pretty classy and restrained compared to the rest of the world. Man, all those people who said that we had Hitler, we don't trust us. Joseph Contreras, well, unfortunately Victor is in the Japanese equivalent of Cleveland. He is out of the hospital now. He was there last week. And he is by all accounts better. His account was restored. He still doesn't actually know what the deal was with that. I'm sure when he finds out more about it, he will show it. But like with Erica, whether it was a glitch or a big misunderstanding or whatever, they undid it right away. So he is out. His channel is back in health. And that is all good. Hey, we got Phoenix 787 and Kantensai and Wei Gaijin. Wow, we got all the beautiful people here. So yeah, I didn't visit him in a hospital, but he is out. Pneumonia, man, that kind of sucks. Paragoti, hey, this is the first time you ever got to see me. Yes. Greetings from Germany. Yes, indeed. Dankeschön for watching. Good to see you. Guten Morgen. And all that stuff. That's all the German, other than what I learned in Hogan's Heroes, which isn't very much. So yes, what's been going on with the world other than me being live? Do I still go kickboxing? Yes, I do. In fact, now that you mention that, Midori, I might as well show you. I made a new channel. Just because I take a lot of shit on my iPhone 7 that I'm showing you right now. The camera on it's beautiful, but it's a lot of crap that I just don't want to post all over this channel. But I do want to post somewhere. I want to put it up. The kickboxing I shoot for my own form, and I want to share it with the other guys that are there. I don't necessarily want to mess up this channel with it all. So I've got 3 things at the moment on that channel. I've got basically my kickboxing. I've started a new series called The Mediocre Gamer because I play mobile games quite a lot, and I thought, well, I'm a mediocre gamer, so I want to set everyone's expectations right, but I'm going to do live gaming videos to the extent that people want to watch me suck at playing games. That's there. I did an intro video for that, and also just the random shit that I do with all the effects and editing stuff that's available on the iPhone that I want to test out. And yes, I saw your comment there, like, thank you very much for that. So yeah, see, Midori, he has been seeing my my vids. Where is that? That's in here. In fact, right now it is on there. So these are the 3 playlists that I've got. I've got the Mediocre Gamer, Tokyo Effect, which is basically using video effects in my music and so on to make random videos, and Fight Club, which are my Muay Thai training vids, which I just use to check to see to try to improve myself. Hey Israel, shalom, good to see you. Hey Aaron Cohen, nice to know that there are actually people from Israel watching. Yeah, that's awesome. Hey Midori, seriously, you're doing kickboxing? That is awesome. If that is true, that is cool. Hey Light, Japan is awesome MMA. What are you talking about? Japan is like the best country in the world to be in for MMA. Even down in Kyushu where you are, I'm sure you can find some stuff, and you should. Everyone's been telling me to get into jiu-jitsu, which is like, strikes me as a nice way to snap my arm backwards or do something horrible like that, but there is pretty good MMA stuff, even in the gym that I go to. I like kickboxing just because it's fun. So yeah. Anyway, there's not very much happening with the new channel, and it only has how many subscribers? It's only like 39 subscribers or something at the moment. So yeah, if you want to see my random shit, my training videos, my mediocre gaming, and my mobile videos and so on, which aren't me talking. This is the idea. It's more sort of just random stuff. Go and check it out. It is Hikosaemon as 2 separate words, like on my Facebook account. And you can just look up these playlists and you can see it. Are you moving closer to Fukuoka? Because you're in Saga, right? Aren't you, Light? Well, Fukuoka is pretty cool. I used to live in Onojo City myself. And my homestay, that was my original hangout in Japan. So anyway, let's go through. What have I been just reading? What have I been tweeting? What have I been discovering? First one, let's say they're in Japanese. It says, 最後面接中に社長の財布 Actually, you know what? I should have actually tried reading that first. But basically, it's saying that a 24-year-old was arrested for stealing the wallet of the company president at the company that he was taking an interview for, which I characterize as doing it wrong, because it was. Abe is in territorial talks with Putin, where I guess the problem is that he's indicated that the talks are not proceeding quite as smoothly as they're not making as rapid progress as he would like. Japan is doing lots of meetings with Russia. They're promising lots of aid. The relations are surging ahead, and it looks like a really positive thing because Russia has lots of gas and energy that Japan needs, and Russia wants to develop its Far East, which Japan can do the infrastructure. The problem is that whenever Abe and Putin talk, Abe says, in exchange for these economic ties and a peace treaty that we'll give you, maybe you could give us, the 4 islands that you took at the end of World War II, maybe you can give them back because the people used to live on them, they want to go back to their old houses. And Putin always responds, yeah, sure, if you give us a peace treaty and economic aid, we won't take over Hokkaido, that'll be fine. And I was, no, we mean the 4 islands that you took, could you just give them back to us, please? He says, yeah, no, that's totally cool, we won't invade Hokkaido. And it just goes back and forth like that, and it never makes any progress. So again, this is the problem when you talk to Putin. He's very nice and affable. He actually quite likes Japan. He's a judo athlete. He apparently whispered in Abe's ear once, "I love Japan," which actually, would be kind of cool if it wasn't Putin, because he invades countries and takes them over and shit. That said, those are progressing, and let's hope that works out. Did I just change JST to plus 24 hours, did I? Oh yes, it is Monday. I should explain this. Freestyle Fox. I was asleep last night. I explained this at the start of the video. I overslept, which is to say I crashed out when I put my son to bed and I thought I'd get up to do the show, and I didn't because I was very, very tired. So I'm sorry about that, but the result is that we are here now, and why not do it on a Monday every now and then. I am actually feeling a lot fresher because I got so much sleep last night, which was a good thing to do. So yes, Paragoti, Japan warming up to Russia, Philippines up to China. These are not good times for America in the Pacific. Well, yeah, frankly, the Northern Territories don't really have much to do with America, but at the same time, yes, well, why not? I mean, frankly, it's not like America's really doing a lot for the Asian region, given who they elected president. But yes, Aphex, your grandmother is from those annexed islands. Seriously. So one, your grandmother is Japanese, and two, she's actually from what are they? They're Habomai, Shikotan. I can't. Geez, what are they called? Yeah, there's like 4 of them anyway. But yeah. That's an incredible thing in that case, because she deported to Siberia? Because that is what I understand happened. Stalin came, he took over the islands. There were a reasonable number of people, like 10-20,000 people living on those 4 islands. They weren't just rocks like like Takeshima or like these ones down in Okinawa. They were proper inhabited territory. And Stalin did what he tended to do with all areas that he took over, was he took the people and he moved them 3,000 kilometers away. And some of those people who were deported from the Northeast Territories and also from parts of Manchuria and so on, bordering Russia, as Russia defeated and took those people prisoners of war, and also took the Japanese who were living in Asia as well, that were in areas that were overrun by the Russian army. They were sent to Siberia, and some of them didn't come back to Japan until the 60s. I mean, think about it. The war went on for, well, in Asian terms, it went on for 9 years. Russia was engaged for like 3 or 4 of those years. And the people who were taken, many of whom were regular civilians, were deported to Siberia and lived and worked in camps there until like the 1960s, and for like 20 years. Not all were Ainu people. There were Ainu people. There were also regular Japanese. That area has been basically, fully occupied by Japan since like the Meiji period, early, even before that actually. In fact, I think it was 18th century. And it was marked out as a border area with Russia from those days. But they were both up there. So yeah, that's Stalin, huge practical joker. He liked to take Germans and put them in Kamchatka, and take people from the Kuril Islands and put them on the other side of Europe, which you can do if you control Russia and you're Stalin. So those people are trying to get access to the family graves and family property, and it still is a big emotional deal in Japan, particularly in Hokkaido. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, but it's not really making much progress. But Japan's trying to play nice with Putin and see what happens. Gifted Ones, 1981. Good to see you, by the way. Hi, you're Ellen. Nice to see you. Hi, I'm Ellen. Good to have you. Andrew Moboy, great to see you. Ty Givens, we're doomed. Well, it could be worse. We could be in any one of several other countries right now that I'm glad I'm not in. Japan is doing quite fine, thanks very much. And Mr. Kordychev, yes, Russian words are backed by nukes. Well, but there again, I mean, Putin's got some interesting rhetoric about that. I mean, yeah, they're kind of like dicks, but at the same time, Graham's family was in Hokkaido, but their fishing boats were taken. At the time, the fishing boats were taken. Wow, that was pretty cool. Okay, I know some people were born in Sakhalin, by the way, as well. The bottom half of Sakhalin pre-war was also undisputed Japanese territory, and they took all of that over. And I know some people who were born in Sakhalin, actually, as well. That's another interesting one. That island is full of oil. It's like the Beverly Hillbillies all over there. Mr. Chuba, Impoyang. I don't know who is Impoyang, but enjoy that. And indeed... So let's go through what else. This is Alphabet. Google, they've been developing, or at least trying to develop with Novartis, contact lenses that will show images in front of your eyes. So it's like augmented reality, virtual reality glasses that you have inside your contact lenses. Apart from the potential for everybody just to be looking at pornography all the time with these things, I guess you're not going to easily get caught. They're not going to be developed, at least not until like next year, but still, I mean, it is kind of crazy that they might be able to develop contact lenses that can actually show images that you can process in your head. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Channel Ralph, good to see you. Good evening to you. So that is some cool technology stuff. Starbucks, sometimes at Christmas in Japan they do a hot apple cider, which I love. This isn't quite that, but it's kind of a baked apple drink. I'm still going to try it because... I'm into the hot apple stuff, and I wish they'd bring that back. Netflix, according to gaijinpot.com, reckon that Netflix is the best TV on-demand service in Japan. There are other companies that offer. There's Hulu, there's Amazon Prime now. There's a few others. Is there anything else? There's no YouTube Red. I don't know why there's no YouTube Red. But yeah, Netflix is apparently good, and that says why. Why not? Don't really care too much about that. Why did I even retweet that? It's a Gaijin Pop competition, so there we go. I know that there's always a good reason. This is a good article that I quite like by Kenji Hosokawa, who's always good for recommending good tweets to follow. And this is one which I've pointed out myself. I say this, this is me self-validating. This is bias confirmation. The Republicans have been kind of torturing themselves for 4 years as to how, hey, Luna Taiyu, good to see you. About how they lost and how they're falling out of touch and how they needed to reform. And you couldn't exactly say that the success of Trump is necessarily a result of that self-reflection of the Republicans, but at least they showed some self-awareness that they were screwing it up. Whoa, Andrea Mulway, they've got that in China. Almost makes me want to go to China, but not quite. Almost. If I had to go to China, I would definitely try one of those, though, and it might happen, actually. I just turned down going to a meeting there about a month ago. Genji 931. Apparently that is true. Netflix Japan does have some good original content, so that could be a good reason to do it. Coming back, the Democrats so far, frankly, I think they should be taking the blame for losing this election. I still don't think this is an election so much that the Republicans won or that Trump won, as I think that Hillary Clinton lost, and I don't see anything other than blaming fake news, blaming, a misogynist, blaming the FBI, blaming. Sure, there are lots of people to blame if you want to blame other people, but there's a question that when you think that these were basically, everyone seems to have characterized working class, Rust Belt white people were the ones who were voting for Trump. These are people who always voted for Democrat. Why did they not vote for the Democrats? What did the Democrats do that they didn't want to vote for them anymore, that they didn't turn up to vote? And I think this is something that I wish the Democrats would look at, and this is a very good take on that from my perspective. Not that it really makes any difference now, but yeah. Also, all these people who are annoyed at the Electoral College or saying that this isn't America's fault because Hillary won the popular vote. Americans have known for the whole 250 years of America all the shortcomings of the Electoral College system. They've had numerous opportunities to fix it. Obama had both houses and was president, and was elected within 8 years of Gore, who won the popular vote. Democrats could have fixed it, and they didn't. Americans know the system. They know that the system is based on proper representation of the states and choosing the president. If he is popularly and directly elected, he'd have more legitimacy than the other branches of government. They don't want to make it like that. That's all cool. Besides which, the GOP also won both houses of Congress anyway. So to me, it's done. The rest of us have to live with the consequences of America's choice, and thanks very much for that. At least the Democrats, I think they should be showing at least some sort of self-introspection about all of this. Australia can't talk. Indeed, not only is Australia not able to talk, America is actually rescuing some of the refugees from Australia. The refugees, the boat refugees in Australia are treated so badly. They're put into camps in Papua New Guinea and Nauru. In conditions so bad, actually arguably worse than in Guantanamo itself, where they put actual terrorists. These are refugees escaping from fleeing persecution, and Australia, which is under international obligations to provide asylum to these people and to give them shelter, they're putting them in conditions worse than Gitmo, so bad that even America, which still has Gitmo, is offering to take these people just because they feel so bad for what Australia is doing to them. By McNeil, they didn't know that. That's right. They did. I don't think they did have either one, but they got kicked in the House elections as well as they lost control of everything through this. So I think they've got to look at, to some extent, to what extent they didn't meet up. But I don't think it's a matter of being more populist. It's not like they had to be more like Trump. They just had to do something more to reach out to their regular voters and make them feel like they weren't being ignored. I think there's any number of ways that they could have done that. And by the way, Michael Gillen Pickett, exactly the same advice times 10 for the Labour Party in Britain. I mean, Labour's given away half of its constituents away to the UKIP, you know, and when their own constituents came to them, they called them sort of racist and ignorant, and maybe they were, but again, say exactly the same thing as in America, except I'd say Britain's even worse, because I'd say that the UKIP and the far right in Britain's arguably uglier than even in the US. So, you know, and the left just doesn't care about it. They've just become a small bunch of academics and rich liberals, you know, who look down upon the people who used to be the backbone of their parties. And this is the same in Australia, it's the same in Britain, it's the same in America. And they're just, by default, giving away their countries. So, to me, that's what's going on with that. Yeah, Australia is extremely overcrowded, that's right. Australia is very overcrowded. New recruits in Japan getting higher salaries, that's good to see. LGBT people in Japan, yeah, there still is some bullying. The acceptance is kind of tough, there's hassling. Unfortunately, you don't quite have the religious bigotry that you have in other countries, but yes. Ellen, yeah, I'm sorry to remind you of your fuckingness. Actually, New Zealand's not doing so bad in comparison to things at the moment. I mean, again, Labour's our Labour Party is as dead as your Labour Party, but it's not quite as screwed up as over there. I think having mild conservatives has worked out kind of well for Japan and New Zealand. It hasn't worked out well for Australia, Britain, and America. I guess maybe it's a good time to learn a foreign language, just so you don't have to be in one of these anglicised countries. But don't learn Russian. Don't do that. It's not a good way to go. And frankly, Arabic probably isn't going to help you much either. Yes, this is kind of interesting, looking at people who make fake news for a living. And Michael, I don't think that's true at all. I don't think that's true at all. I think they just have to fight. They have to not give the appearance of being corporate sellouts, and they have to show they have the appearance of being there to look after workers and not supporting the forces that are giving their jobs away, which isn't necessarily to Mexicans. It's just, you know, they have to... the best piece of propaganda I think Trump had in his whole campaign, which was partly fake, was pretending that he was responsible for Ford not moving one of its plants from Kentucky to Mexico. That was the same sort of publicity. That was the same sort of thing that Putin did. You know, he'd march into these factories and make the factory owners sign these agreements with their unions, you know, practically like in a mafia sort of move. That's incredibly popular shit. That's all that they had to do. So, you know, good night, Light. I hope you had a good workout there. And Scotland, yes, who knows what will happen in Scotland. Let's keep going. There is a Trump Tower in Japan. Did you know? It's apparently this building in Shinagawa. The rooms rent for $700 a month. And I imagine the rents have gone up just from foreigners wanting to have an address in Japan that says that they live in apartment 601 Trump Tower, Tokyo. Hell, even I would want to live in it. Even I would love to have that address just for the provocativeness of it at the moment. That would be pretty awesome. Indeed, the TTAP. To me, that makes it sound better, Kemidori. It's although no, you wouldn't want to make it all into words, would you? Hey, as you all know, I'm all for the TPP because of the butter, but we're not going to go to butter because it's one of my trigger words, and this video is supposed to be a safe space. Next one, Trump Tower. I want to live there. American people, if you're feeling bad, or British people, you're feeling bad, or Australian people, if you're feeling bad, don't worry. There is a country worse off at the moment than all of you, and that is South Korea. We're going to get into it, but this is the least bad thing at the moment that Korea is going through. But this is the thing which caused the last president to his presidency to collapse, and that is the military intelligence sharing treaty between South Korea and Japan. The South Koreans so hate the idea of any sort of military cooperation with Japan. America is demanding that they do it because America has integrated defense systems with South Korea and Japan, and they want them to cooperate, and they want American or Japanese defense systems, if they detect a North Korean missile attack on South Korea, they want to be able to share that information with South Korea. And at the moment, South Koreans block it. They would rather be hit by missiles and killed by North Koreans than be saved by Japanese. So yeah, good move. The president, who's arguably rapidly on the way out, which we'll get to in a minute, has decided that now might be a good time, partly with the new president coming in as well, and him saying that South Korea doesn't pull its weight appropriately for American defense. saying, you know what, let's do that thing that you wanted us to do of forming a military alliance with Japan, even though we would rather die than form an alliance with Japan. She doesn't really care because she's not going to be in a job in a few weeks. So this Wednesday, they're going to be signing a treaty, a historic treaty, military alliance between Japan and South Korea, which I think is awesome and is so, I mean, seriously, I would take intelligence from North Korea if it was about anyone about to kill me. I wouldn't give a shit where it came from. But these people here, they would rather not know. They would rather... So, you know, I mean, this shows the depth of prejudice and issues that they have over there in Korea with the idea of cooperating with Japan. But this is a good thing. And frankly, the backlash against the government doesn't really matter at the moment because of all the other stuff that's happening at the moment. So we will get to that. This is King Fatty the Third, I believe is the now blocked term in China for this man. Anna Fifield, awesome New Zealand reporter for Asia for the Washington Post and kind of Korea fanatic. She's been over there in China meeting this Chinese impersonator who, strangely enough, in spite of looking like one of the most powerful dictators in the world, has little luck with the opposite sex. Well, I guess, you know, he can't put them in front of machine guns or anything like that. The several generations rise to challenge the status quo. At the moment, on popularity ratings, the Korean president for the last 3 weeks has rated 5% popularity. And that in itself is remarkably low. Apparently President Hollande in France at the moment polls 4%. However, I'm pretty sure President Hollande probably polls better than 0% with under 30s, which the Korean president does not. She's actually polling 0% with the under 30s in Korea. This is for her role not only in being linked to a religious cult that was using its influence and frankly some believe mind control over the Korean president to get money and special favors for companies that they controlled, but also they used threats, intimidation and extortion against companies to get them to pay money into charities run by this religious cult. Using the influence of the office of the president. These are the accusations that the Korean prosecutors wanted to interview the president over, and the president said she would be fully cooperative with going along with these interviews. So then they said, okay, let's talk this week. And she said, you know what, I might need a couple of weeks to think about it. So they went and did a few interviews, and they decided on the weekend to say, you know what, we don't need to talk to her, she's guilty. They can't actually prosecute or for crimes any sitting president in Korea, although Parliament can impeach. And once she ceases to be president, then she can be criminally charged. It looks like Korea is, I mean, well, who knows, America could be in the same place in 3 to 6 months, but at the moment South Korea is actually far further down the crapper than America is, in spite of what most Americans think. In fact, if you're American and you're feeling terrible, Google Korea news, Google President Gimmeabreakman Park, and feel good about the fact that it could be worse. It probably will be the same soon, but it's not there yet. So enjoy that, America. And this is the young generation that's got 0% approval of the president, and it's just because indeed they're just tired of being fed a lot of crap. And here we go. Even lawmakers from the ruling party are joining with the opposition now to support a move to try to impeach President Park. So shit is well and truly hitting the fan over there. This was interesting. This was another one from Anna Fifield. She pointed out in a statement from the North Korean government, some US media such as NK News, Google News, Reddit, and the instructions given by Marshal Kim Jong-un to their command. So apparently, North Korean government here, they read Reddit, which actually explains quite a lot. Alan, I'm glad you're feeling better. Man, you know, yes. The North Korean government is a Reddit reader. That explains. That makes everything suddenly make sense. What else have we got in here? More about the Korean president just being totally screwed. There's some game music that you can listen to. What do we got here? Agile. Deploying Agile in Japanese companies kind of makes you screwed. I just love this because it's a Japanese explanation of where is this? This is cute. The America the Japanese know nothing about. The loser dog, underdog win against the establishment. A big explanation here about what hillbillies are. Hillbilly, white people that live in mountains. The Beverly Hillbillies, 1960s popular TV show. It's a long explanation of the phenomenon of loser white people and how they've just taken over America. White trash. White trash. This is a scientific essay for Japanese people on what hillbillies, white trash, the Beverly Hillbillies, and mountain people are. I felt like this was a good opportunity to educate people, so I retweeted. And there they are holding the signs. Aren't they nice? Actually, they look a lot like my relatives in Australia, which actually they're not that far from it. So yes. In Pachinko, good news for if you're a Pachinko company. So as you all may or may not know, you know how Pachinko works? Gambling is totally illegal in Japan. But Pachinko gets around this, that when you play the Pachinko games and you get these little silver balls that come out that you win, you exchange those at the front counter for your winnings, which are a big plastic trophy, which would be worthless unless you carry it up the road. And hey Sadiq, good to see you, man. You take it up the road and there is like a plastic trophy exchange for money collection place that's completely unrelated to the Pachinko place. And I believe that the money transfer happens through 3 companies, so they call it a 3-point structured business, which means that there's no direct payout of money in exchange for the winnings from the game that you play in the place up the road, which is how they get around the idea that Pachinko is not directly gambling, it's indirectly gambling, which police consider to be not immediately a violation of the anti-gambling laws in Japan, and hence it's very, very popular because people are gambling addicts. So the Abe government's been looking at directly outlawing, recognizing Pachinko for what it is, which is illegal, unregulated gambling. It is regulated under the adult entertainment laws in Japan. They register them basically like blowjob bars. They have been looking at actually regulating them as casinos, especially with the specific casino law about to be enacted in Japan and the first casinos to be allowed. And frankly, it's kind of an opportunity by people within the LDP to kind of screw over the Koreans who run the Pachinko industry in Japan. It's illegal in Korea, but it's legal in Japan. And it's primarily run by North Koreans and South Koreans, actually. It was a big industry for Koreans who were left in Japan after World War II. They've traditionally dominated the industry. And so for the people who want to get at those people by outlawing Pachinko, is a good way to it's part of the reason the industry's been allowed to survive, actually, out of sympathy. But however, they are looking at outlawing it, and this while deliberations are going on in Parliament, someone actually asked, so can we have an official government position on, is it actually legal that you can go and collect your winnings from up the road? And a government lawyer said, actually no, it doesn't violate the law, it's totally legal. To which everyone said, well, I'm going to start a baccarat parlour and a mahjong parlour, and I'm just going to set up the same way as Pachinko, the internet comments. It is kind of ridiculous, and frankly, if you have a look at the effect that Pachinko parlours have on the neighbours that they're in, it's like having, a horse betting shop, kind of just brings down the neighbourhood a little bit. They're not a good sort of social thing, but they are everywhere, and I'm not a fan myself, and I don't think that they're needed, but yes, that is how that is going. Park Geun-hye was an accomplice in extortion, say South Korean prosecutors. She really should have talked to them when she said she was going to talk to them and not played for time, because now they just came out and said, well, okay, so she's guilty of extortion. So that is funny. Australia's lots of Chinese spies. Don't imagine, geez, they're like kangaroos. Seriously, why do you want to spy on Australia? I do understand that they are actually there to spy on the Chinese who are there to make sure that they're not politically acting against China, which in itself is just fucked up. I mean, seriously, how much do you have to control people? Yes, anyway. Pico Taro, he's all over the place. He's got like a Sesame Street mashed up. Here is my man, Baya McNeil. Baya, are you still there in the comments? Because you did a great job with this. You know what? This was on his blog, his personal blog, Loco in Yokohama, but this was also published in the Japan Times. And this is a pretty good account of Baya McNeil's experience of the election night, and it's pretty good. So yes, that was good. That is a must read. Japan Times today, I think, and it was also on on his own blog. That was pretty good. South Korea is still doing better than America, so there you go. Hey Ty, good to see you, man. Good morning to you there. Good of you to wake up. I know it's earlier in your morning there, so thank you for joining. That is water. What else we got here? Kanye announced at a concert after playing 3 songs, he got on stage, he did a big rant where he said that he supported Donald Trump and he's thinking about running for president in 2020, and he walked off the stage. And I had to look everywhere to see if this was fake news. It's from the dailymail.co.uk, which is mainstream media, which gives it about a 30% chance of being fake. But holy crap. I mean, seriously, I don't know what's real and what's fake anymore. I really don't. Apparently now every diplomat in Washington is staying at Donald Trump's hotel in Washington because they wouldn't want to upset him. Here is the game between Wales and Japan. If you're into rugby, this was a good game. Went really well. There was Pikotaro with Cookie Monster and Elmo singing in Japanese. That was pretty awesome. There's Korea, still fucked. I mean, really, they really are. Seriously, if you think you've got it bad in America, look at these guys. What else have we got here? There was a small quake this morning. That was kind of exciting. Man, we saw one today. Amazon Echo. I've parallel imported one of these. I'm kind of playing around with it. I've been playing around with it. I've just sort of brought it home. I've got to set it up yet. I think I'm going to feature this, just to the extent it's American. It doesn't work with Japan or anything like that. But I still want to figure out what you can do with it, because I think this shit is kind of the future. It's kind of fun. So I'm going to play around with that. But yes, 60,000 recipes that I can talk to you. That can, you can voice control while you're cooking. That strikes me as kind of cool. Innovative Japanese TV shows, freelancers, used PayPal, Putin still promising to not invade Hokkaido if Japan gives it money, fake news, who gives a shit? Oh, seriously? Yes, that 360 video shows from this ISS, I love that stuff. Star Wars led to the invention of laser tag, awesome. Time zone control. The Grand Tour, which I haven't seen yet, but Top Gear, I used to love Top Gear, even though the host, frankly, is a Donald Trump of TV motoring shows. He is a misogynist. He randomly beat up his producer for no good reason in particular. The food in Yorkshire wasn't warmed up. I've had country food in England, and frankly, it didn't taste any better warmed up. It really wouldn't have made any difference. Yasashi 89, you know what, I'll let you sit there and talk your shit every week, and it's kind of quasi funny, but seriously, it's actually not that funny. And I don't want to block you, but don't make me block you. What else we got here? We got anti-war movies. Why do I blog here on anti-war movies? Why do they only show Japan suffering and not all the bad shit that Japan did? This is a blog in Japanese. I thought it was interesting, and I have wondered the same question myself. Jeremy Clarkson is hilarious, and I do find him entertaining. And hell, in my dark moments, I even find Trump sometimes entertaining. But then I remember who he is and what his job is. At least Jeremy Clarkson only drives expensive cars and acts like a dickhead, but a very funny one. So I am interested to see the new show, The Grand Tour. I think it will be awesome, but I haven't seen it yet. What else we got here? Apparently 40% of people in Japanese get less than 6 hours sleep per night, which sucks for them. And I think I'm probably fall into that category most nights, although I'm trying to improve that. In Nagoya, the Cleveland of Japan, the classy town where they ignore traffic signals, traffic lights. Sorry, I said 89. But seriously, what do you expect? To a degree, a good humoured, intelligent joke every now and then, fine. But please, come on. So in Nagoya, classy town. By the way, I did get in a lot of trouble. I had someone after I described Adachi as sort of the wrong side of the tracks part of Tokyo, and someone from Adachi got very, very upset with me and told me that in on Twitter the other day I very seriously upset them with my white imperialist hegemonic ways about that. Don't say sorry, just don't be a dickhead. So anyway, with Nagoya, maybe I'm a bit too mean to Nagoya, but Victor lives there. It's a classy town. So Nagoya, the city of no road rules, had this thing where they had a friendly lending umbrellas. They lent out 120,000 umbrellas to people in Nagoya for when it was raining, that they would just be able to drop back when they were finished using it. They're called friendship umbrellas, the Yuai no Kasa. Apparently 120,000 or however much they gave out. How many did they give out? Apparently this has been going on is that really been going on for 54 years? But apparently in that time at 85 stations, these friendly umbrellas, 120,000 of them have just disappeared. Look on the bright side, it could be people, at least it's just umbrellas. But seriously, Nagoya, not a place you would want to leave an umbrella on a street corner. And by the way, this is one of the things that annoys me just about Japan, is how people do take umbrellas. This isn't just a Nagoya thing. This happens in Tokyo. It happens everywhere. But you know, if it's going to happen anywhere in Japan, it's going to happen like 10 times worse in Nagoya, which is why I found that funny and I retweeted that. Hyperloop, they've had staff problems. I really like that, an old 3.5-inch floppy disk that actually has a lot of memory in it. I think that's what it is. So it's a battery. It's full of batteries, and you can use it for recharging. I think it would be cool actually as a memory stick as well. But yes, this looks awesome. I haven't actually listened to it yet, but I put it there because it looks awesome. There is a Beastie Boys Daft Punk mashup album. Yes, have to listen. Yeah, I take protein, you know, like gel packs after I work out. It's not really working very well, but I want to go and see how that works. If you live in Kyushu, here's some good news. Right underneath Kyushu, there is a massive caldera volcano getting ready to pop out from the ocean floor. There's a big plume of magma that's sticking up at the moment, and yeah, it could cause just a massive volcanic explosion. Good on you, Kyushu. Well, we are on the ring of fire, and that shit happens. This is my new, the Mediocre Gamer. That's from my new channel, the Hikosaemon channel. I'm trying to find a better name for the channel and see if I can remember how to change the name on the channel. But yes, anyway, that is my kind of my garbage box channel, just where I put all the random stuff that I don't want to put onto this channel. It's over there. If you want to follow it, follow it. And that is me doing some mediocre gaming. And by the way, that's the graphic that Rochelle did for me a few years ago. Rochelle, and I still really love this graphic. So I'm going to use that on that on that channel. It gives it a bit of a home and a place to give it new life. That was pretty cool. What else is going on here? I had a long debate the other night with a bunch of people that was kind of interesting. Elderly drivers are being encouraged to stop the hell driving because they're running people over and killing them everywhere in Japan, so that's nice. They get a chance to graduate. This is, I think, why the government is also promoting self-driving cars so much at the moment. Columbus, Ohio, I believe. Lunar Taiyo, well, there we go. You've got the driving is terrible there. I'm sorry to hear that. But yes, Sortius, you're wondering if someone's stealing them in bulk to fence on the umbrella black market later. You laugh, but the two things that get stolen in Japan are bicycles and umbrellas. And you know where those bicycles often end up? And I shit you not, they end up in fucking North Korea. They do. Whenever Japanese news crews, they go over there and they find these still with the registration marks on them, these stolen Japanese bicycles. It's crazy. They do actually go somewhere. Turks, don't worry, the Turks do not, well, do they? Maybe they do. Turks have a thing for umbrellas, who knows? Maybe they convert them into fezzes. I've got no idea. But thanks for the tip, Sadiq. I really hope that's not in any way true. I'm sure it's not. What else we got here in the news? We got the winners and losers of weed legislation in California. Apparently, yeah, there's this is kind of like the Trump's pick for Attorney General as weed advocates freaking out. If you read it, really weed advocates don't have to worry about anything. People who are worried about like racist attorney generals and people who are enforcing Jim Crow laws in 1986 in America, that's some fucked up shit. And is much worried, it's much more worrisome in a way than anything they have to do with weed at the moment. It's interesting to see that the prohibition in America is being undone, but not before America imposed its own racist prohibition on every other country in the world first. So yes, no, they're not. I don't know about the umbrellas, Bicyclefarian, but the bicycles, they end up there. I shit you not. I mean, seriously, I'm happy that they're being reused. It's actually on the recycle pyramid. Reuse is above recycling. It's better that they keep using them and giving them an extra life. And frankly, given how much shit they have to put up with over there, if they do well off, a bicycle from Japan that's a bit better made than maybe what they get locally, that's fine. But stealing them is kind of just dickish, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that they're stealing them either, but they do somehow end up over there. Aphex, I agree. Hillary could have won. She could have won any number of ways which didn't involve becoming a racist dickhead like the guy who won. We would have been one way, just offering to sincerely protect US jobs, and there's all sorts of ways that could have been done. So yes, indeed, but she didn't. So you got to live with that. What else have we got here? Normal random shit here. I've talked about the foreign trainee program here. It's a program which allows foreign apprentices to come and do apprenticeships in Japan to learn high technology skills under an apprenticeship program which they can then take back as part of a technology transfer program to developing nations around Asia. So of course they come to Japan to do these high-tech apprenticeships to take this technology to take home, and what do they end up doing? digging up potatoes and working in clothing sweatshops. And the great thing about it for the employers is that the employers often steal their passports and don't pay them for anything other than 8 hours work, even though they work them for 20 hours, and they pay them below minimum wage. And it's for all intents and purposes a slavery program. And in spite of the problems that this program probably violates human rights, labor rights, and like 20 international conventions that Japan has signed up to, whenever it comes up in the news, the first problem that's cited with this program is the number of people who run away and the potential crime threat that this represents. And if this sounds like the movie 20 Years a Slave, that's exactly what it sounds like to me. This is a slavery program. And the good news here that the law to protect foreign trainees, because they've been getting abused. I mean, some of them have flipped out and murdered their masters, which is actually what you call apprentice trainers in Japan. Apparently, if the Ministry of Labor does not, or Ministry of Immigration does not get complaints, or if these owners get good reputations, they get to hold on to their slaves for another 2 years, from 3 years to 5 years. They get to keep them for 5 years, working at below minimum wage in inhuman conditions. So it's like great, kind masters get to keep slaves 2 years longer in Japan. There are lots of ways to come to Japan, but this is not the way I recommend doing it. And frankly, this whole program, it's a desperate move to help rural areas of Japan that don't have Japanese who are willing to do manual labor or work in ways that make their jobs affordable anymore. So they are using basically Vietnamese and Philippine and Indonesian and Chinese workers in their place, but they are treating them literally like slaves. And the fact that the Japanese government is sheltering and protecting this program is it's kind of an embarrassment, and they need to fix it. But you're kind of doing it wrong. Yeah, well, Pick, I guess we're going to have different. Well, I mean, if that's true, then that's what America is, and that's what Britain is. I don't think that's actually what they are, and I don't think that's purely. I don't think it would have been impossible for a different candidate from the Democrats to have won, but or from the Labour Party, even in Britain, to have won, or for Britain to have stayed in Europe and all that sort of stuff. But the left is just, frankly, it's lost. It's not got a clue. They don't have to be like the people who won at all. They've just got to be better at presenting the solutions that they have from their side, which they've just they've lost the plot, and that's the reason that they lost, if you ask me. But you're entitled to your own view that everyone's gone fascist and racist and ableist, and that's the only way that they can go about it. Speaking of which, this super interesting research, but that's right, at the moment, methane levels, carbon dioxide levels, look at them go. The new Myron Ebel, or some name like that, the new EPA, presumed EPA lead in America, thinks this is basically a subjective fiction made up by a minority of scientists, these statistics. But those parts per million of greenhouse gases, they are spiking now, because right now you've got permafrost melting, you've got methane coming up from all over the place. We basically are completely screwed, and it's a concern to me that my kid is going to be in a world where most coastal cities are going to have to be abandoned to some degree. It is kind of crazy. The fact that this wasn't even debated in the US election, when the US is still the single biggest contributor to global warming. It's not China, it's not India. Sure, they have lots of pollution, but America is still the most economically developed and the biggest consumer of energy. They don't even want to talk about this, and they're screwing all of us. That's what really sucks about what's happened with all of this. But yes. In a fire that Nara firefighters called the most awesome fire ever, they found a marijuana growing house that was on fire, and I guess they just stayed around just making sure that it was fully burned out. Good job. Governor Koike, she wants to fix the terrible uniforms. That's good. Trump, he swung by. That's right. This was an interesting one. Trump, he showed up at Trump Tower, where he started formal government negotiations with Ivanka and her, basically Trump's whole extended family, and everyone's saying, look, he's corrupt already, and he's violating the blind trust and having family around. I don't really care. He's not president yet, and of all the things that Trump does, this is like having his daughter in the room when he talked to Abe is like the least offensive thing I think that he's actually done. There are rumors in Japan in sports newspapers that Ivanka is going to be like his possible Japan ambassador candidate, although that was from a really dodgy sports paper. But who can really tell the difference between dodgy sports papers and real newspapers anymore? But seriously, I can't. The real news has just become a big reality TV show, and in that context as well, this is totally normal. Abe became the first major world leader, the first world leader that I know of that to actually talk with Trump since the election, to meet with him, and I think it was probably, some people are saying, you know, is it appropriate to go that early or to go while Obama is still president? But there again, given what we know about Trump, and Trump's, you know, a guy who kind of puts his whole public persona out there, and, you know, TV, pro wrestling, movie cameos, and the election thing, which he ran like a reality show, it seems to me pretty obvious that he likes flattery, he likes people who, you know, kind of pay compliments and show poor praise, and it was probably a smart move by the Japanese Prime Minister from a perspective of, you know, doing what's best for Japan with respect of not getting too screwed over by America under a new administration, to probably get in there first and be remembered as the first guy who went to go and congratulate him. I think, you know, as someone who lives in Japan, it was a smart move. It was a good move by Abe going over there. Who knows what they talked about? Who really gives a shit? Apparently they talked about golf, and they both like golf, and shit, I don't care, just so long as he doesn't as long as he keeps his batshit craziness, you know, focused on other areas, that's all good with me. You know, yeah, they could have been talking about movies. Who is literally a murderer? Who is literally a murderer? Did I say that? Did someone say that in the comments? And yes, if people are debating the election results still, and still saying literally a murderer, I don't know. Well, I didn't see it, but honestly, I can't see. Well, this is the thing, though. I mean, you know, everybody just tweets stuff, and now this is me tweeting stuff. This is stuff which I find interesting. I try to make sure I use reasonably credible sources, and I try to keep things mixed up and balanced. But you know, it's just kind of who can tell? And by the way, the whole war on truth, it wasn't started by Facebook and the fake news. It was started when they abolished the Fair Press Act or whatever it was in America. It started when the whole idea of editorial and, you know, independence and the integrity, the idea that all news reporting had to be balanced. So it was when this was gotten rid of at about, well, I think was it the early 1990s when this got rid of in America. The whole ideal of fair and balanced reporting is now gone from all reporting, and that happened a long time before even the internet, actually, or not a long time before, around the same time. But honestly, CNN, even BBC, all the sources that I used to like, they've been running into the ground for years, and you know, the internet's just accelerating those trends, but those are trends that regular media's already been leading. And this is why I like to go through the internet, I like to go through this, and I find journalists who I find it credible about the reporting the things that I know about, that I can recommend. And that is what I try to do. I try to do my best to be a voice to help you sort through all the shit, but man, there is a lot of shit to sort through. And when it comes to America, I'm not the person to really be that, other than I just sit here, just jaw agape. This was sad. Sharon Jones, vocal from Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. This song, 100 Days, 100 Nights, is one of the best songs in the last decade. It is awesome. And she has like the best voice I've heard in ages. So, you know, there you go. Does Phoenix think Hillary is literally a murderer? Well, there you go. Benyazi, right? So yeah. So that was a shame with her. This is me doing stuff around Tokyo and all this sort of stuff. Ivanka Trump's presence at Japan meeting with Japan's leader raises questions. I don't give a shit. I really don't. But you know, compared to all the other things. The fact that internment of Muslims, okay, it's actually going to happen. If that does happen, that nightmare is just going to be, well, America's finished. I really hope it doesn't happen, but holy crap. English language theatre in Tokyo, his confidence, well, what else did he have any choice but to say? And let's make that a good place to stop the show, to end the show. I hope sorry I didn't make it last night, but what could I do? I was asleep. I couldn't do a live show. Check out my new channel. It is pretty awesome. Let me put this over here. I got videos of fighting. It's all to music that I've made and stuff like that. I've got the Mediocre Gamer, where I'm going to show mobile gaming. If you guys know how you can play online mobile games like 2-player or multiplayer, I love to play multiplayer games like on iPhone or iPad with you guys. If there's any way to do that, they don't have to be cool games either, because seriously, there are much better gamers out there than me. And Tokyo Effect, I'm just do some random videos and stuff like that. And those are going to be on that, videos which I shoot with my iPhone, hyperlapses, slow motion, nighttime Tokyo stuff. It's kind of random stuff, but it gives me a place to put them that makes me feel like I'm not quite wasting everybody's time like I would on this channel, where I try to put like this sort of content. So I hope you enjoy it. License to 45, it's okay. You know, you can watch the show back. It's about to be and I'll be able to see your comments at greater leisure if you leave them on after the recording anyway. So anyway, I'm sorry that I was asleep last night. I hope you all have a very good week. I'm going to see you back again on Sunday. And yes, have a good one. Boom. Peace. I have to turn this off now. Have a good night, everyone. Good morning, good day, wherever you are.